Well, welcome everyone to Love vs. Hate. My name is Anne, and I'm your old-fashioned nerd.
And I'm Emily, your mainstream millennial.
And on this podcast, Emily and I like to debate and argue about the things in life that we love and hate.
And most times, we don't agree.
It's very true. We don't. And I don't think we're going to agree today because we're talking about subjects in school. Specifically.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I
love school.
Yes, we're going to be sharing stories and we're going to be talking about all the things we like and love about those subjects. So stay tuned. But before we get into it, I just want to say that I'm a fortune teller and I predicted it and I knew it. Emily, what did I predict?
So Anne predicted in our 2021 predictions episode that she did not think, I don't know where she got this idea, but she thought that like Claire and Dale from The Bachelorette were not going to stay together.
Uh-huh. And what happened recently?
And they like broke up.
I knew it. It was, I feel like even you probably suspected that was going to happen.
I feel like we all suspected it. We all saw what Dale was really feeling in Dale's eyes when it was after the final roast and he was like, Chris, help me. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of this predicament. Hi. Yeah, I'm really happy with you, Claire. Yeah. Help.
I know. Like his eyes said one thing and his voice said another. And you were like, I definitely believe your eyes, sir.
Yeah. So unfortunately, they're just not a thing right now. Who knows? Maybe senses will come to him or maybe senses will stay with him.
Yeah. I think she just was way too fast. Like, if she had given it time and not been, like, so crazy and obsessive, maybe. But, like, she was just way too strong.
Yeah.
Girl, calm down.
I mean, she knows what she wants. And she went after it, but she went after it a little bit too hard.
She didn't even give him time to breathe. He was like, I've known you for 5 hours, and you're already, like, asking me to marry you. Like, calm down.
Yeah, so one thing came true so far with our predictions.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah. But Emily, I want to know, let's just jump right in. What was one of your favorite subjects in school?
I actually really did like math.
Oh my goodness, of course. Math is my least favorite.
I just really liked how you knew when you got something wrong. And that I just really liked showing my work and figuring out a problem and like getting to the conclusion and then drawing a little box around my answer. Mm-hmm. So fun.
No, I hated math. Mostly because I was bad at it.
Well, yeah. Okay. So did your school have like, you could be in the normal math, which is your grade level math, or you could be 1 year or 2 year advanced.
Yeah, we
Or
had that.
if you were like the one kid in my school, he was 4 year level advanced or whatever.
Holy cow.
He literally went to the high school every day for math class.
Wow.
He was really smart. But anyways, I was really sad because in 8th grade, I think is when that started for us.
Yeah, that's us too.
I was really sad because I just got into regular math and all my friends got into 1 or 2 year advanced math. And I was like, I'm stupid. And my mom's like, no, you're not. You're just average.
You're not helping, Mom. See, that's funny because I got in a year advanced, which is stupid. I don't know why. I think they just did it because I was a generally like quote unquote smart kid. I don't know how that happened. I was always terrible at math. I always hated math. And I'm in these advanced classes and I'm like, I don't know what the flip is going on. I'm looking over at my friend. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't know how I got in there, but somehow I did. But I'm kind of glad I did because all of my friends were. So if I hadn't been, I would have been like you. I would have felt like, left out and stupid and average. I'm sorry. So I understand the feeling, but yeah, I don't know how that happened. It shouldn't have happened. That was a break in the school system.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just so upset. But then in 8th grade, I had the coolest math teacher, and she let us do Sudoku, however you say that word. I love those puzzles. And
I do actually like those.
If you do one once a week, I'll give you extra credit. And I was like, this is fun. I'm doing it.
I actually do like Sudoku puzzles. As long as they're at a level that I can solve them. I'm usually at a medium or hard sometimes, but like medium, I'm like every time I've done a medium, I've gotten it. Yeah. I haven't gotten every hard one I've done though, so I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with my mediums over here because it makes me happy to complete it. Sometimes
I'll just like look in the answer key and just take one of the numbers so then I can continue on.
Tisk tisk. That's not how you're supposed to do it, but it's okay. What do I expect from a cheater like Emily?
Wow.
Just kidding. Kind of not, though.
Yeah, so I loved math, and I also loved, I wouldn't say I loved English. I loved, like, certain English classes. Like, in high school, I took modern literature, and that was just really fun because you just got to read normal, everyday books that I would already be reading.
I actually did really enjoy English in kind of a similar way. In terms of, like, grammar and grammatically correct and spelling.
Ooh, I loved that.
See, I hated that. That stuff was awful. Always hated that because also I was really bad. Whatever I was bad at, I hated, you know? I feel like that's
Makes
everybody.
sense,
But yeah. So, but I really loved, like, all of the creative writings. Like, I took a creative writing class in college, and it was by far one of my favorite classes because I just love creative writing. And I took a screenwriting class as well.
Oh, yeah, that
Loved
was fun.
that. Super fun. I just, like, anything creative writing, I am in. It is my favorite. I'm totally down. If it's any kind of like, oh, you have to, you know, write this essay in the prose, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know.
All those dang types of writing that you had to do, like English ALB or whatever the heck kind of writing, and then you have to work cited page.
Yeah, and Times
and
New
like you
Roman.
can't use Wikipedia. Excuse me, Wikipedia knows everything.
I always used Wikipedia as a starting point. That's what I usually do. I'm like, okay,
they have sources within Wikipedia.
Exactly, yeah. And then also it kind of gives you a good, I think Wikipedia always does a good job of giving like a good overview of like, here's just like kind of a bare overview of X subject, and you can get an understanding of it, and then you dive in and you're like, oh, now, and then you know. So I always started with Wikipedia.
Yeah, I definitely didn't like, as far as English classes go, any of the like reading not poetry, but reading of like Shakespeare, like Romeo and Juliet. I was not about that. I was like, no comprendo.
That does remind me of a story. In college, I took a Shakespeare class for an English credit.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I wasn't super excited about it, but a friend and I were doing it together, and I was like, it'll be fine. I need the credit. It's fine. It's one of those college classes, you know? And the professor was this old man, and I don't know what it was, but one day he like had us read different parts, right? And you know, I wasn't playing D&D at the time, but I was already like kind of getting into characters and whatever. Like I was okay. I was totally like, I'm just blabbering now, but if you are going to commit to the character, right? Like give them some embellishment, like have some fun with it. That's just how I'd like to read. And so I did that. Like it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't come dressed up or anything, but I like gave the character a little embellishment. I actually had like, inflections in my voice like that. And he loved it. I don't know. He just was like, wow, that was so amazing. Can you read it more? And he had me read like the entire class.
That's so funny.
And whenever like a part would come up that I'd have to read, he'd be like, oh yeah, you'll and he didn't, I don't even think he knew my name because he was so old. He like didn't remember our names, but he would always like point to me to like read the parts.
That's funny.
It was kind of weird, but yeah.
I think it was considered an English class, but in college I took a class all about, what was it? It was basically just like Gothic books. So like Frankenstein and what the heck is that other vampire one?
Dracula?
Yeah, Dracula. Frankenstein and Dracula. We've read like all the different versions of those in that class. I'm kind of convinced that my professor was maybe a vampire in just like hiding, because she literally was like, she would only wear black and red, and she just looked scary.
That reminds me, I had a professor in college that I was convinced was a witch.
What class?
She taught multiple courses, but it was one of my art classes. So we had there was certain core art classes that every art student ever had to take. And there were certain art history classes. It was part of that. And so she taught our first art history class. And she had very long, very wiry gray hair with 2 streaks of white down each side in the front.
Classic witch.
Yeah. And she was just kind of weird, and she talked kind of weird. She would talk like, if you could consider the idea of the concept of the notion of Picasso. And
Does she mean the potion?
I know. I'm like, what are you even saying? Like, what are you trying to convey to us right now about Picasso? Like, I don't understand. And she would always talk like that. She always talked in threes, and it was just very odd. But I do look back on that class fondly because it was one of my first like classes with a lot of my friends. Like we were all art students together, and we would literally get on Facebook and we would just chat with each other in a group chat, and we'd like play games online the whole time because we just wouldn't listen. I know, we were really terrible, but it made us bond.
There you go. Okay, speaking of weird teachers, I had this other teacher in college. I can't remember her name, but I think she just came out of like, I don't know what decade it was, but she wore a matching suit every day with a long skirt, a blazer, a nice little button up, and then a hat that matched it, and it usually had a feather on it.
Oh, wow.
And she like,
so she's from like the 30s maybe?
Yeah, maybe. And she had like this like old English accent where she was like, she had just a little bit of an English accent. And she taught one of my English classes, but then she taught one of my law classes. I had to take a law class. It was like law for media or something like that.
Oh, that's cool. I never took a law class.
It was really cool, but that was the first time that I'd ever gotten an F on a test before. Yeah. We only had 3 grades in that class. And the first test, we had 3 tests. The first test, I got an F. And I was like, I'm literally going to fail this class. Because you know how law works. Like, laws are specific words. And I didn't know the specific words. So I kind of just made up my own definition of the law.
Of course you couldn't remember. I get it.
Yeah, and so I got that back and I was like, oh, snap, I need to study more for this class. And then the next test I got an A because I knew how law worked then.
It's required very specific words.
I was like, I said basically the same thing. Yeah, but it was actually really interesting. I had to write a paper about the case of Ozzy Osbourne and some kid who killed himself while listening to an Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
There's been a lot of cases like that, and basically nobody's ever going to win. The musician will always win.
I know. It's tough because, like, I get it. But, yeah, you're never going to win that one. I agree.
But, yeah, it was super interesting learning all the laws. I don't remember, like, barely any of the laws, but I can, like, I know the reasons, but I can't give you the terminology behind the reasons.
Right. The actual words that make the laws. That's why you failed the test.
Something about like something, an intent and something else. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such craziness. I took a class. It wasn't a law class. It was another art history one. But we talked specifically about copyright. And we looked at like copyright issues and some of the cases over copyright. And I always find that really interesting. Mm-hmm. Copyright is a crazy world that I don't like want to get into. But when I'm like reading about it or learning about it, I'm like, oh, this is actually really interesting.
Okay, question. In high school, did you have block scheduling?
Yeah, we had it was called Flex 14. But yeah, it was basically
Where's the 14 come into play?
So they would split the entire day into half-hour blocks. So one class could be a half-hour discussion class. It could be a 1 hour, 2 block, which was the majority of them. Majority of them were 2 blocks. But then sometimes like our science classes would be 3 blocks. So they'd be an hour and a half. It was weird. And honestly, they also built in like what they called study like halls where like you would literally get like a block of just study time. Mm-hmm. But if you could work the system, which I could, by my senior year, I literally had 4 hours every 2 days completely blocked off with nothing to do. So I actually worked part-time during the day in high school as a student assistant teacher for 4 hours.
So you had like Monday you had these 4 classes or whatever, and then the next day you would have 4 different classes.
Yeah, but it would all be blocked by that. So like one day I would have literally like 4 hour chunk of like study time, quote unquote. And so yeah, I could just go do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, that's how it was for us. We had like A days and B days.
Yeah, similar.
And so we had, I think, 4 blocks within a day and then lunch. And yeah, we had the same thing where, like, when you're a senior, you can choose, like, when your study hall is. Mm-hmm. And, like, mine was either in the morning or at the end of the day. So I could either just, like, come in late or I could leave early. And then I also this was back when I wanted to be a teacher. I went to like an elementary school during that time and was like a TA there.
Oh my gosh, that's literally what I was a TA for. It was an elementary school.
I was a TA for my 3rd grade teacher who sang the whole soundtrack or like played it for us. And I was like, yo, Mr. 3rd grade teacher. I'm not going to say your name for privacy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't, because my elementary school was a long ways away from the high school, but there was one that was like just down the road. So I helped at that. So I didn't have any teachers that I had, but I loved it. I worked with the kindergartners and 1st graders.
Yeah. I think I worked with 2nd graders, and I had to teach them long division, and I was like, what is long division again? We don't use this in high school.
I know, right?
We just use calculators.
I know. Did you get paid for it?
No.
Oh, I did. It was very meager. It wasn't even minimum wage, but hey.
I think I got college credit for it though.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So, speaking of credits for college, did you take any what are they called? AP classes?
I did. Advanced placement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took AP Gov.
Yeah.
Ugh, disgusting. I literally was like, why am I here? Every single class. I did not want to be there.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like governmental like history classes, but I will say history was one of my favorite subjects in school. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, not for me. You know, me and my memory of people and dates and places. Yeah, no, it just doesn't work with me.
It's just so fascinating though. I love history. It's so intriguing, and like I just love being put into different times and like learning about how they lived, and to think I'm living history, like, 20 years from now, we might have kids and we'll just be like, yeah, I lived during the coronavirus. I was 20.
I lived during the pandemic.
I know. We were in our 20s. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I remember when Trump was president.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just kind of weird to think that we're living through history. But yeah, I loved history. I didn't like government classes. Overall, I probably was much more like U.S. history, like world history, I did enjoy. But if you gave me the option between like U.S. history and world history, I probably would have chosen U.S.
Oh, that reminds me of, I took European history. I think everybody had to take it. I think it was in 9th grade or 10th grade. And my teacher was so cool. She was the coolest teacher. And she knew how obsessed with One Direction I was. So one day she literally was like, oh, Emily, I have something for you. And she found like, in a magazine, there was like something about One Direction, and she cut out the page and gave it to me. I was like, you're so sweet, Miss C.
That's adorable.
Find you a teacher who will know how obsessed you are with something and will like go out of their way to get you something.
Yeah. I will say, I feel bad for teachers because it is a very difficult job, but a good teacher makes a big difference. Because I had an English teacher in high school that I did not particularly like, and I did not like English that year. Like, but English was overall one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending on the teacher, it's unfortunate because I know it's like I said, it's a very hard job. And each student likes different types of teaching, like some students respond much better to someone who's like more forthright and kind of like in your face about it, whereas other students like want someone who's a little more submissive, maybe a little more calm, a little more patient. Like everybody learns differently, so it's really, really hard. But yeah, I had some really good teachers over the year.
Okay, what kind of student were you? Like, were you one that was like raising their hand all the time, wanting to participate, or were you just like, don't look at me, I'm not actually here?
Yeah, I was like, don't look at me, I'm not actually here. Definitely.
Yeah, same. Except for I might have, like, in one of my English classes, I might have been, like, that person who was answering things because nobody else was. And I'm like, I'm not just going to sit here and have him stare at all of us like we're stupid.
Yeah, and I would maybe answer the occasional one. Like, I wasn't silent the entire time, but I definitely never, like, was shooting my hand up at every opportunity. I was just kind of like, I'm kind of like you. Like, if no one was going to answer, I'd be like, okay, if I knew it. But most of the time I was just like, nope, keep your head down. Don't make a fuss. Just do your work. Move
on. Okay. So what about science? Bill Nye says science rules. Do you agree?
I absolutely love learning about science, doing science. No. I never liked lab reports. I never liked experiments. I never no, I'm out of all of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't like science. I didn't like science classes. I remember I took physics for some reason. I think I had to, actually.
Why?
I think we had to take physics.
Oh, I didn't.
Or
that
maybe,
was an
I don't
elective
know.
in our high school.
But anyways, I was in physics, and we had, like, the person who was sitting next to us was, like, our partner. Mm-hmm. And, like, my teacher would always be like, okay, talk to your partner about this. And my partner just didn't acknowledge me because he was too cool for me. He was like, I got friends around here. I'm talking to them.
Aww.
And I was like just sitting by myself in the corner. And so my teacher became my partner. And then I like did not understand physics. And so he basically gave me all the answers.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
convenient.
Yeah, but then he was like, oh, just so you know, everyone, Emily really knows her stuff. So if you have any questions, ask her. And I was like, I don't. You told me all the answers. I don't know anything. Stop it.
Oh, no. That's like the worst thing to do, Emily. Like, call her
I'm
out.
like, no, I'm not here.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, okay, no, stop talking. I don't like science.
Yeah. The only thing that science had going for me in high school was I did genuinely like all of my science teachers.
Yeah, no, I didn't like, I can't remember. No, I don't remember any science teacher that I liked.
One of my favorites she taught, I did take an astronomy. I did actually I like astronomy. I took an astronomy class in high school and in college. The college one was harder though because they wanted us to do math. Like the high school one was much more fun. We just did fun things, but in college they actually like made us do like hard math, and so that one was a lot harder. But my astrology teacher, she was awesome. She was just a hoot. She like totally was there for the fun of it and wasn't, like, I think with science, for me at least as a student, that's how I enjoy it more, is when they're like, let's learn about this, but it's okay if you don't actually want to become an astrology like scientist, like let's just have fun. And that's what I like. I want to have fun. I want to learn about it, but do I want to practice it? Do I want to go through all the hard math? No.
Did you ever do like the black box experiment in science class?
I don't know.
For some reason, I remember doing that in 8th grade, and it was like, my teacher made it seem like everybody did this black box experiment, and it was all about like hypotheses and like whatever. The whole just like scientific, how you have to make a hypothesis and then you have to whatever. You
have to make conclusions. You have variables.
All that stuff. Yeah. I don't even remember what was in the black box, but it was such a big deal. And I was like, what's in the black box? And yeah, now I don't remember.
I don't know what.
So it was all for nothing. I was just curious if that rang any bells.
No.
One thing is, I don't know if this is like super common, but my school was like from elementary school to middle school, I was with like one group of kids from my actual city. And then we had this other city that they had their own elementary and middle school. And then in high school, we combined. Did you have anything like that?
Well, I came from a pretty small town. It was less than 10,000 people. So we had multiple elementary schools, but that was it. Then we had one middle school and one high school. So once you're out of elementary school, you would just merge with everybody. So,
yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just kind of like weird timing with our ages, because like I remember everyone at my school in elementary and middle school were like all friends. Actually, I think we combined in middle school. Yeah, we did. We combined in middle school. We were all friends in elementary school, and then in middle school, these other kids came and they like made us all cliquey, and then I wasn't friends with my friends anymore, and now I had to make new friends, which I love my new friends now.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was really weird. I'm like, excuse me, these people are so rude. They're breaking up all my friends.
Yeah, I will say middle school, especially the like social aspect of it. Never want to relive that again. I was pretty fortunate though. I pretty much kept my core friends through my entire school year, actually, like from elementary school all the way till the end. We made a few more friends, but really it was the three, I had two other friends, like the three of us were like peas in a pod. And from kindergarten all the way through, we're still actually good friends.
BFFs with my friend's mom from like kindergarten.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about like earlier school. And like, do you have any stories from like elementary school or middle school? Or any other stories? Because I have a story.
I mean, the funny thing is I have a lot of stories, but literally none of them actually relate to what I ever learned. Like, they were all like things that happened on the playground, or there's a really embarrassing one of, I think I might have told it on the podcast. I ripped my pants in front of like my entire class.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This doesn't ring any bells, but I also have a bad memory.
That's true. I can't remember. Well, listeners, maybe you can tell us, because maybe this can be a fun, intriguing moment. If you want to hear the embarrassing story of me ripping my pants in front of the entire class, I will share it. It's scarring, but it's fine. But I believe I might have already. If I haven't, let us know. You can let us know on our socials. You can DM us or let us just like comment on one of our posts on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and I will tell you my embarrassing story.
Okay, so I have a story. It's not really, doesn't have to do anything with the subject, but it's sort of something that we learned in school. So I was in first grade, and we had these little popsicle sticks with our name on them, and we had like 10 or 15 for the whole year. And like, if you were bad, you would get a popsicle stick taken away, and it was like a lesson. If you were good, you would have all your popsicle sticks. If you were bad, you would get them taken away. Okay, so I was washing my hands with my friend, because we were just washing our hands in our classroom, and I grabbed some paper towel, but it was a really big piece of paper towel, and I was like, hey, Emma, like, we both just washed our hands and we both need paper towel, so maybe we can just rip this in half and share it, because I don't need this much. And she's like, yeah. And so we're like, how do we rip this? I'm at first grade, I don't know how to rip paper towel. Or not paper towel, but like, you know, the brown.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways. And so I was like, hey, what if we each get on one side and like tear it like tug of war style? And so that's what we did. And then my teacher comes and is like, Emma and Emily, stop fighting. Give me one of your sticks. And I was like, I was just trying to share my paper towel because it was too much and I didn't want to waste the paper towel. And she didn't believe me. So I had to give away one of my popsicle sticks because I was trying to save the environment. I was so sad.
Oh, poor little Emily.
And if that doesn't describe my life and how much of a goody two-shoes I am, I don't know what does.
They took a popsicle stick away from me.
It was a big deal in first grade. Oh, another embarrassing story. This happened in kindergarten. So kindergarten, we had an AM class and a PM class. I think I was in the AM class, yeah. And we had to write this book about our best friend. And so naturally, I chose this girl that was in the PM class that I had never met, but she just had really, really blonde hair and I thought she looked cool. And so I wrote a story about my best friend who I had never met. And I was like, we love swinging on the swings together. We love playing with our beanie babies. And I wrote this whole book about how much me and this girl were best friends and what we liked to do. Never met her before. And then I'm pretty sure I'm still friends with her. And I'm pretty sure I told her recently, I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I wrote this book about you in kindergarten when I didn't know you and I told everyone you were my best friend. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye. It's funny. You want to read it? Okay, I'm reading now.
Like, I literally don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, we're weird at that age, you know? Like, kids are just weird.
Yeah.
Weird things happen.
Yeah. So weird.
Yeah. And it makes total sense at the time, which is the craziest thing.
Yeah. Like, I had a friend in my class, but for some reason, she wasn't good enough to be the friend in my book. I needed to have this other friend that I'd never actually met.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just because her hair was, like, really, really blonde.
That kind of reminds me in elementary school, we had, lunch trays.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, in elementary school, I did have a group of 4. There was 4 of us. And I don't know why, but me and another friend of mine had to have the same tray color as our other friend. Mm. And if we didn't, it really upset us. Or like if I had the color and she didn't, it was like we were at each other's throats over it. I don't know why. To this day, I can't tell you why. But at the time, it made total sense. And it made total sense to her, too, why we would fight about it. and to get this matching tray of our other friend. I don't know. It was really weird. But at the time, it totally made sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, duh.
we had 2 tones of lunch tray colors.
We had like 4.
We had like a light blue and a dark blue.
We had like a light blue, a dark blue, like a greenish one. Then there was like a tan.
Yeah, we just had 2. So, but one time, okay, you know how you have ID numbers in school for like your lunch
no,
code?
Emily forgot hers.
No, I didn't forget mine. My friend who has almost like, she's 2 people away from me, like it's her name and then somebody else's name in between us and then my name, like in order of last names.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, I forgot what my ID number is. And then she's like, oh, wait, I remember. It's 148. And I was like, no, it's not. Because that's mine. I didn't tell her that. I was like, no, I don't think it is. I think it might be 146. And I was just like so concerned that she was going to use my account to get lunch.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what would happen? Would you get doubly charged?
Probably.
Or maybe because she's first in line, then you wouldn't even get a lunch.
Or maybe I would just use 146. I don't know what I did. But I can't remember what I did. But, you know, that was a tough situation to be in as an elementary schooler.
What do I do?
Okay, so we talked about the main subjects. Are there any of the like side subjects like music or art or anything else like that you absolutely love or absolutely hate?
Good question. I mean, I absolutely loved band. Band was amazing.
I absolutely hated band. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it.
You can just say hate.
I played the oboe, which is also just like a dying goose.
Yeah, why would you ever?
Because I thought it was cool because it had a double reed, and I also wanted to play
the bassoon then.
No, that's big. I wanted to play the flute, but I couldn't make the noise.
An oboe is way harder to play than the flute.
I know. That's what the person told me when you had to like go in and like try the instruments.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, here, try the flute. And I tried it. And she's like, oh, I'll try the oboe. And I did it. And she's like, that's actually harder. So you're better. And I was like, but I wanted to play the flute. Okay, I'll play the double reeded dying goose instrument.
No, you got to stick up for yourself. Play what you want. Otherwise, music's not fun.
Yeah. So I didn't really like band, but I liked orchestra and choir.
I was never in orchestra. I would have liked to. I like string instruments, but I played the saxophone, which is the best instrument to play.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think if I could go back, I would play the trumpet, actually.
No.
Okay, sorry, guys.
See, with the saxophone, and I mean, you know, trumpet and stuff too, but like the saxophone was like just made for jazz, and I loved jazz. Jazz band was my favorite. Loved it. So fun. Weirdly, I actually kind of liked improvising. It was scary and I wouldn't always want to do it, but like I kind of got a lot more confident with it in like high school, and I will always remember this moment. We were just in rehearsal. We were just practicing one morning, and it was for jazz band, and it was my turn to do an improv solo. And I don't know, I was kind of in the groove, and I took it slowly. Like a lot of times when you're like a young, at least for myself, I was like always getting really excited, and I try and do like these cool riffs, and I just try and play like really fast. But I was like, no, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to stick with the beat. Like, and I kind of like, I played this fun lick that I really liked, and then I played it an octave lower again. And then like, I don't know, I just was feeling it, and it felt really good. And we wrapped the song, and I was like, that was fun. And then our teacher was like, did you guys hear that? And everyone kind of was like, yeah. And he was like, that was the best improv I've ever heard.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow.
I'm off to Broadway.
Like, did you hear how she played that again in an octave lower like that? And he just like, and I paused, you know, I had like pause, because that's the other thing too, you tend to just like go, and I would do that too. But I like purposefully had pauses in there. Like it just felt really good, and he loved it. And he was like, if that had been at state, she would have won. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was the best compliment I ever like got.
Wow.
Made me so happy. I still remember it. But yeah.
So nice. Yeah, I never did solo and ensemble.
What?
I was too afraid.
That's fair. It is a little scary. I really liked, we would do it for jazz band. We would play for jazz. And then usually I would get a quartet of saxophone players together, and that was my second favorite because it'd be 4 of us. But yeah, it was always really fun because there was a lot of like my friends were also saxophone players. And so like we always had just like a good group. My junior year, I remember, was like our strongest group. And I'm pretty sure we won state with our quartet. We did really well. I loved it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What about you? Was there any, like, you said music.
Yeah, I loved choir.
Was there any you hated?
The only thing that sometimes I just don't like the music that we play, either in orchestra or choir. Like when we play or sing a really, really popular like pop song, like I think we sang Love Story in choir, which is the Taylor Swift song. And I'm a soprano 1, so I was just like, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone now. And just like the same note over and over again. Or for orchestra, we played some Black Eyed Peas song. And it was just like the same note over and over. I just can't stand doing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see, what else? Oh, health class. No, I hated that. Mostly because of the people who were in the class. And also Spanish.
Yeah, I never was good at foreign language classes. I took German. None of it stuck.
German?
Yeah.
That wasn't even an option at ours.
We had German and Spanish, and that was it.
You didn't have French?
No.
That's
weird.
really weird.
I know. Yeah.
We had French and Spanish. We had to take French and Spanish in 7th and 8th grade, and then we got to choose for high school. And I chose Spanish. And I think I took 1 or 2 years. And I don't know. I think I was just scarred from my first day of Spanish class in high school.
Oh, dear.
This kid threw up, like, projectile vomited in my class.
Oh, on you?
No, he was across the room,
good.
thankfully, but I, like, saw it all, like, coming. And he was, like, he had his hand over his mouth, and he was, like... And then I saw it spewing out of his hands, and I was like, oh, no.
That is unfortunate.
First day of high school jitters?
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of gross, but you know what? We're getting past that, and now we're going on to more positive subjects, which is life lessons.
Ooh, yes.
So, Anne, what is your life lesson?
I think my life lesson is if you get the opportunity, even in like college or probably high school, but probably more so college, I would recommend taking a creative writing class. Even if you're not too into writing, like it can be really fun and you get to read other people's work. And like, I really genuinely love just reading like some of my classmates' work because I was like, wow, this is really good. Or like, this is really fun. Or I don't know. I just think a creative writing class can really kind of inspire your creative juices. And it's really fun. And there's just like no need to be like super specific or super like particular. Like you can just genuinely have fun, and I highly recommend.
Yeah.
What about you, Emily? Your life lesson?
Mine, I think, is, okay, I have a couple that I'm thinking about, so I'll just say them quickly. One is if you have to read out loud in class, go all out like Anne did, because obviously, I mean, people are going to pay attention more, people are going to remember it more, and it'll just be more fun for you too, maybe. And then my other one is if you have the opportunity to take like a personal finance class or any kind of class that will actually help you when you're an adult, take it, because I never took one of those classes, and I was like, huh, what is credit? Just kidding.
Yes.
So yeah, taking those types of classes, but also just like any class that you're interested in college, like I would definitely recommend to just like go out on a limb and take it as one of your electives and just have fun with it.
Yeah. That is a very good life lesson. I kind of wish we had given that to ourselves, you know, back when we were in college.
I mean, you could still take a college class just for fun, or you could take a master class.
Oh my gosh, let's take a, oh yeah, we've talked about master class. We should do it.
Yeah, we should do something.
Yeah.